Alright, this should work. I don't think I'm gonna be able to read anything anyone says if anyone bothers to comment, but alright. I'm just gonna do a rundown of like every champion in Classic, going by them from like 1 being the best and 60 being the worst, and I'm just gonna rate them assuming you're playing a competitive setting, uh, assuming you're playing like team ranked, not assuming you're playing solo queue or casual. If you're playing casually or solo queue, I might make a comment on it, but this rating is just assuming you're playing a 5v5 ranked, which is usually how champions are bounced around. So we'll start with the first champion. Everyone will be surprised by this. Fucking Skarner. And he's the best jungler in the game, and it's really not close. I don't even think anyone can duel him, really. Like, if you invade him, he just kills you. And if he invades you, you basically have to flash away. He can just build full tank, and he does insane damage. If you build some damage like Triforce, he will one shot people. But I think he's bugged. Like his Q should not have a 100 hit damage buff. Like he never had a damage buff when his auto attacks him his Q in any patches. So Captain Flowers must have some serious dirt on Freak because there's no reason for his Q to be that broken. Uh, Obviously his ulti is like crazy engage, probably one of the best ones in the game, especially with like Shirelia's and Randuin slowing. Like you can just get someone, grab them, and they're dead. You build ore items like Runic Bulwark, Frozen Heart, so you're always gonna have good utility. And everyone has to pay the QSS tax when you exist, so that's a pretty good tax to make people pay. A lot of people don't want to build QSS, so like forcing them to build it is pretty good. Even though he only has 3 abilities because his E sucks, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't even matter. He's broken. Alright, number 2, Tryndamere. I don't think that's a controversial one. He's really overtuned in terms of like his base stats. He has like 600 something HP level 1. And this is like the old version with the crit damage on Fury and crit chance passive. So his sustain is even better in lane. And he scales better. And right now, there's not that many champions that can deal with him. Uh, his E also has the same cooldown every level, which means you don't even have to max it second. This lets you max your W second, and it's 100 less AD. Like you're level 13, you're like an 80 carry at like 150, maybe 200 AD. You just press his W, and all of your AD is gone. That's just absurd. And his E is magic damage. It's not physical damage. So he's got like some hybrid damage in there. And it lets you build like Nashor's Stewed or something if you want to lean into that for lane. Because like CDR is really good on him. So you can go like Nashor's Stewed into like IE Shiv. It's actually a pretty good build. You can even jungle him if you want. You can even go bot lane with him with like Doran's Shield and blocked. I think his numbers are gonna get nerfed for his patch. There's no way he stays like he is. I assume his E cooldown's probably gonna be nerfed at level 1, and his W's probably gonna be reduced to like 80 at max level, and his Q probably is gonna scale with levels in terms of how much AD it gives, because right now it gives 40 AD level 1. It's just ridiculous. Completely overstated champion, just ban him. Alright, number 3. We get the Lee Sin. The classic meme champ of like is a bruiser, tank, burst, mage, support, AD carry, DPS, whatever, April Fool's joke. But like he actually is. Like he's got a shield, he's got sustain, he's got CC, he's got burst, he's got DPS. He actually is all of that. His E attack speed slows, which he doesn't on live. So like if you're playing top, he just slows your attack speed. You can't trade it with him. And the second part of his W gives him armor. So if you're playing an AD champion, you do no damage to him. Pretty much impossible to trade with him. You can play him mid, you can play him jungle, you can play him top, you can even play him bot lane carry if you really want to. Like Froggen was playing him mid at IPL 5 is really good. They won some games with that. There was not much mages could do against it. And players today are obviously better than players that were back then in terms of mechanics. So obviously like the clash kicks and the insects or whatever gotta be way more reliable than they were back then. And you also have a trinket ward you can jump to, which you shouldn't have. They shouldn't be trinkets, but whatever, they're there. And Sightstone is meta in jungle, so you always have wards on you. You're always gonna be jumping somewhere. So that's really good. Yeah, you can just build whatever you want. Like you can go golem, runic bulwark, cleaver. You can go lizard, fucking locket, Randuin's. It doesn't matter. Like whatever you build, it's gonna be good on him. As long as it's like a natural item, like Elisa's miracle. So yeah, definitely one of the harder champs to play, but I think he's gonna be like low win rate relative to how strong he is. But if you're playing like ranked, he's a great flex pick, and in IELO he's gonna be like perma pick ban. All right, number four. Maybe this is gonna surprise people. I think Janna's number four. One of the biggest reason for it is just her passive wins lane she's not even in. Like you could be playing Cinch top and you're against like Gangplank or Teemo or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. You're just gonna get screwed over by the fact that they have 10%, 10 flat more movement speed. And that's just like even the jungler, he clears like 5 or 10 seconds faster because he moves faster between camps, and for that reason you get ganked sooner, or they get there before you, so you can't counter gank. Passive is just absurd. It's why she was always like high win rate, even though she was didn't feel like she was oppressive. Uh, there there isn't that much mobility in the game, so she has the best peel, and if you're playing a melee champion, you can just completely invalidate your entire kit. There's nothing you can do about it. She's got two hard CC and a really big slow. She moves really fast and she can shield people. So like, what are you gonna do? She enables comps that are usually not really popular or good. Like siege comps are a common theme in this era. You'd see like AP Cog or AP Nidalee, and since she just has insane peel, insane disengage, and even she even has good wave clear, even as a support. She just enables those poke comps. You can't never engage on them, and they just whittle you down, take your turret, and there's nothing you can do about it. And even if you're like trying to siege it against her, she can just shield the turrets, so you can't even damage the turrets against her. And if they're playing like a standard team comp, the AD carry basically gets a BF sword for free. So like it makes them power spike way earlier when usually AD carries are usually weak mid game. You can literally go Medjai's on her every game. You shouldn't die on her ever, so you can easily get stacks. And you can even flex her mid if you're Zekin build. Just go like max your Q in one shot waves, and with AP and GP10s, you just outscale anyone. So like, why wouldn't you pick her if you're playing support? She just does everything. And I put Ardent Sensor because I looked at Ardent Sensor and it's literally the version it came out with. And I think in that version, people were running gold per 10 quints and seals just so they could rush the item. I haven't seen anyone do it on the PBE. I haven't tried it, but there's a chance. that Ardent Sensor Rush is actually meta, and if it is, Janna's gonna be the best at it. So yeah, like no one's gonna ban this champion. No one's gonna be prioritizing her as a pick, but she's like insanely broken. Like she does too much. All right, best AD carry Ezreal. He's fifth. He's the best AD carry in the game because his attack speed slow on W lets him win basically every 1v1. If you land your W, you win. Like there's nothing they can do about it. The attack speed slow is way too strong, and he has insane mobility in an era where like not many champions have mobility. Another part that's kind of really not mentioned often with him is that he's a Trinity Force AD carry. With BF Sword being like 1550 gold, you're never gonna have a bad back. You can't just like you recall and you have like 1,000 gold. You're like, damn, do I wait it out or do I buy a pickaxe? Him, it's like I don't care. I'm just gonna buy a ruby crystal and a longsword, work on my phage, or buy a sheen if I have 1,200. Like he never has a bad back. So that's like it's something that's like kind of underrated for AD carries. Is ulti obviously like you just get control over objectives. You can never sneak a baron against him. He can steal them even sometime. So that's a very powerful tool in like a competitive play, especially when like you're trying to bait baron, but they don't have vision, but you want them to face check, but they just ult Ezreal ult and they see that it was just a bait, so they don't respect it. Like one thing that might actually make him feel weaker is that people are gonna be doing a stupid blue build because blue build Ezreal. It's funny, but I think it's a bait in most situation. Like unless you're against like really heavy AD divers, it's not really that good. And Elder Lizard sucks on him. It's not even good on him. So if people just do the Trinity CDR boots, Bloodthirster Last Whisper build, they're gonna steamroll people. If they do the Jabate, Lizard, Elder, Iceborne Gauntlet, Man Immune build, they might feel like they don't do any damage, especially against tanks. His main downside is he's really hard to play, and you have to land your abilities. Like if you miss your W, you're against Vayne, you miss your W, you're gonna lose that 1v1. Even though in a pure theory you should win. Since you missed your W, you're gonna lose, so you have to land your abilities to be a real champion. So that's maybe the one downside with him, but we're assuming that you're a good player. You're landing your abilities more often than not. So that's why he's rated so highly. Next, we have Ari. I haven't seen anyone rate her high, which is weird because she's the best mage in the game. She has insane sustain because for some reason Spell Vamp on AoE is like full Spell Vamp. And she has Spell Vamp built into her passive. So you'll be like trading with her, and then she's gonna Q the Mina wave and heal like 25% of her health at level 5. And you're gonna be like, what the fuck just happened? Like, how do you trade against that? You can't. She's one of the few mages that's like mobile. She has pick potential, like E plus DFG is like a 30 something percent hamp. It's even tanks are gonna have a hard time surviving that. And with the fact that she also has good wave clear, she has good utility with charm, and she doesn't even have to go full damage. She can build like bruiserish, like get Shushays, get Woda, or Abyssal, or Zanya's. And she's gonna be like insanely hard to kill. You can't catch her, and she just kills whoever she lands a charm on. Though if she misses charm, she's obviously gonna feel like shit. Especially if you're against like someone with spell shield or banshees and you if they block it with that, then yeah, it's gonna feel like shit. But if you land charms, it's insanely OP. And I don't think there's many mages that can lane against her. I think the only one that could do okay is like Rise because you can actually snare, point and click, maybe Scion, but at worst she just wave clears and roams. And yeah, what do you like? not much you can do match her. So yeah, number seven, probably the first like not 10 out of 10 champion. I don't think she's like a 10 out of 10. I'd say like the first six champions, they're like, in my opinion, pick ban worthy. Evelyn might not be pick ban worthy, especially since she's like in a contested role, being a mid slash jungle flex. But she does alter how the game is played just by existing. Like her being in the game forces the enemy team to play differently. You can't play the same way you're playing if you're playing against Evelyn than if you're playing against a Skarner or a Lee Sin jungle. You can't. You need to buy pink wards, which most modern players aren't gonna do because they're like, oh, 125 gold, fuck that. I'm saving for my BF sword or my long sword or whatever. They're just so greedy and they don't think. And also, you need to deport their camps. Like warding the river with a green ward does absolutely nothing. It's completely useless. Don't even bother. If you're playing against Evelyn, you need to go deep in the jungle, which is very risky. It can lead you to getting ambushed and killed, but you need to do it because you need to ward the camps so you can see her do the camps so you can know where she is. If you don't do that, you're never gonna know where she is. And if you're just warding Tribrush, she's just gonna walk in, the ward can't see her, and she's gonna gank as if the ward wasn't even there. So you're gonna, there's nothing. You have to alter your playstyle. You can't play like you're normal. Her ulti lasts 6 seconds, which is kind of crazy. The shield is like 300 per champion hit at max level. So that's if you actually hit everyone, it's fucking insane amount of survivability for a great amount of time. So she has the opportunity to build a lot of damage with some resistances and just be unkillable. Her clear is extremely fast. She does good damage and she's mobile with the movement speeds on her W and she can break slows with her W. So like even if you're like playing Nasus, if you press Wither on her, she's just laughing. She presses W, it's gone. You just look like an idiot. So and that resets on kills and assists. So in team fights, she can you can't run away from her. You have to kill her or she's gonna kill you. She doesn't really need any items to do damage. Like you just need a lizard elder and she does damage. So she can build whatever the hell she wants. Pretty much like Lee Sin can build whatever she wants. She can go full AP. Definitely does a lot of damage, especially DFG. But you can go like Bruiserish, like get Rallies, Randuin's, Frozen Heart, whatever. Doesn't really matter. You can even buy like ore items like Runic Bulwark or Woda. Just so much versatility in the kit. Only downside I'd say is that, like she kind of falls off late game, but it's not that big of a fall off. Yeah, you can play her mid. Like if you're Alex each pilled, you can play her mid. Just rush DFG plus Mobies, find an 80 carry and make them quit the game. But yeah, I think she's if the jungle war wasn't so contested, she'd be higher. But she's really good. 8 is Alistar. I don't know why people don't rate him that high. Like you can auto attack after Edbutt. Like that shit got removed for a reason. Like you have the OP Trinity, you've got Static Shiv, you even have Lich Bane that does magic damage. So there's no opponent. Like you just W auto attack with Sheen. They can't do anything. Like there's no counterplay to that. You can flex him support, you can flex him top, you can flex him mid. I don't think he's good jungle though. His clear's too shit, and I don't think it's worth it to do jungle. But you could play him jungle. It's not the worst thing in the game. There isn't that much engage in the game, so like Elbot Pulverize is like one of the best engage there is. Even like if you're playing him top, you go like Trinity Shiv. You're still tanky because your ultimate gives you damage reduction, and there isn't that much true damage in the game except for like Olaf and Vayne. I think. I guess Corki too. So like you're gonna be tanky even without tanky items. And his ultimate gives him a lot of AD. So like if you're doing the Trinity Shiv, you have a lot of attack speed and you're getting a huge ass AD steroid on top.
So yeah, if you're playing him support, you can like really invade with the jungle. You can really screw up someone, especially if you're doing like a lane swap situation. You get level 2 and you can just go with your jungler and make the other jungler not be a champion. And I think in a competitive setting, lane swaps are going to be really common. So like support jungle synergy is going to be really important. Same thing with top jungle synergy. And I think Alistar is like one of the best jungle synergy laner you can have because at level 2 he has two forms of CC and it does a lot of damage. So not much you can do if you get caught. His main weakness is his mana cost are like really really bad. So you might have to itemize differently or like get some specific room pages or maybe just a couple of Dorn's ring fixes it. I don't know. I haven't really tried it, but his mana costs are pretty high. Could be an issue. Alright, after we have number 9, Lulu. Another champion that's not rated very highly on the list. Like if I'm just gonna open up the list I'm referencing for the sake of it. So we did a poll and this was like the ranks of some champions. Like you can see that Ari 14, Lulu 20, Alistar 22. So I have a very different rating for these champions compared to what the community seems to think, which is fine. Everyone has their own opinion, and I think this game has so much version of the game has much more flexibility when it comes to champions. So a lot of people are gonna be like, this champion is good because X Y Z, but some other person's gonna say like, yeah, but they have this weakness. So I don't think they're that good. So I think that's what's good about old league. Like I think of the entire roster, I think legitimately 50 of them are probably playable in a ranked setting. On Modern League, you have like maybe when I played in season 5, and you only had like 40 playable champions. Everyone else was dog shit or overclassed. So having more champions with a smaller pool says pretty good. So Lulu, why is Lulu so good? She's the ultimate flex champion. She can play top, mid, and support. So in champs like that's really powerful. Having the potential to flex is something that's really underrated. I think in competitive, like you first
Lulu. What do they get as information? They don't know you're what. You're like, actually, well, this top is like weak against this champion, so we're gonna put Lulu as our mid because she works fine against their mid, and or we're gonna counter pick top. Like the draft advantage of picking Lulu is so good. Fucking polymorph. If you've ever played a melee bruiser, you fucking hate polymorph. That ability is so cancer. It's so stupid. Point and click, 2 seconds or something. You can't do anything. And on top of that, our ultimate makes it impossible to stick on 80 carry. It's very fun when you're playing the bruiser and the polymorph, the ultimate is on you because then no one can run away from you. But when you're against it, it's dreadful. She has so much flexibility with how she can use her abilities. Like you can make your AD carry do way more damage with her shield and giving them AP, which is actually relevant because most of the AD carries have AP scaling, so you give them AP movement speed and damage on auto attacks, or you can just burst with your E and CC people. Like the flexibility makes her very strong. Her level 1 is one of the strongest in the game. Her Q can hit a lot of people. It slows, so you can get pick or force a flash. And her auto attacks do the most damage because of picks. So like the level 1 invade potential is crazy. Like even if you're playing your support, you go ward their blue buff. Let's say your blue side, you go ward their blue buff. And while they're doing it, you can just walk up and harass their jungler, and they can't really do much to stop you. Like, and you can really fuck them up. Like you might even be able to force a flash if it's like a jungler that's like really weak level 1, like I don't know, like a Moo Moo or something that like takes a A lot of damage from the buff. Again, I'm mentioning Ardent Sensor. Ardent Sensor is like release version. It might be broken. It might be Ardent Sensor meta. I don't know if it is. If it is, then she's gonna be really good at it. So that's why I think Lulu is a top 10 champion. Probably should be picking her or banning her even in some cases. Number 10, I haven't seen this hero much, but I think the theory is that in my opinion, he's going to be probably the best competitive champion, but I don't think his kit is that strong, but he has so much potential. Just by existing, just like Eve, you have to alter how you play the game just by existing. Because at level 2, you could be playing top lane. Level 2, you decide I'm going to hard push because this is like a matchup where I have to hard push. And suddenly you're getting 3-man ganked by the jungler with red buff and TF with gold card at level 2. That's something that's going to happen. And there's nothing you can do about it, I think. Like, what are you going to do? So, like, how do you play against that? Global TP on E and the global Sun reveal on R is like completely different champ from life. And I think in competitive settings, it's gonna completely fuck over how teams can be played. You can even like jungle invade and you TP at the red buff, kill the jungler with your jungler. Like there's so much stuff you can do. I think it can even be flexed as a support because as a support you can have that freedom to roam. And with just level 2, you have a global teleport and a on-demand stun. So lots of flexibility. Also, there's a type of playstyle that we've theorized and hasn't really been tested, but I think could be good. Is like a heavy push, try to end the game early because a turret is essentially a dragon. It gives global XP and global gold. So if you kill a lot of turrets really quickly, you're getting a very big snowball in gold and XP. And then you can start deep warding their jungle, which leads to more picks, and it's really strong in my opinion. So if you're like doing heavy push comps, it could be a really good pick because you can always guarantee a new numbers advantage in the lane that you're pushing, and he has good wave clear, good poke. He has good pick potential, and he can catch them in rotations. So yeah, his passive is global 2 goal and kill. So even if you're not doing like cheesy comps or alternate strategy, he still should lead to his team having more gold and a gold lead in the early mid game. So your AD carry having an awkward buy. Your top laner might get Giant's Belt instead of sitting with 800 gold. Like there's a lot of situation where that 2 goal and kill is gonna make or break an early buy, and having that early mid game gold lead is always valuable because getting a first item is so important in this game. And at max rank is in max CDR is teleport is a 36-second cooldown. Like like yeah, like if Messiah was playing, he would have 100% win rate on his champion, 100%. He would just win every game. Unfortunately, not everyone is him, but like if you're good at him, I think this champion is like a must ban. Like if you're playing against a team that has a TF main, I think you have to ban him. You can't let them play it. And he even has like the Zanya's, like you can TP in and Zanya's big durabilities. Like it's it's insanely strong. Uh, Number 11, Morgana. Also kind of a low rated champion on that list at 25th. Like what the fuck are people thinking? Alright, anyways. A little bit like Lulu, she's like a really good flex pick. She can be played top, she can be played mid, she can play. You can't even play her jungle. Like I think jungle Morgana works in this patch. So like flex potential is strong. She can clear waves without being in lane. Like you just place your W, you kill the casters. You don't even have to be there. So like if you're doing like if, let's say they pick Kassadin, you can like send your AD carry and support mid lane and send Morgana bot, and she can farm. The Kassadin can't do shit, and there's nothing you can do about it. And and you're just gonna win off macro from that. And she's immovable in lane because she gets spell vamp for free, so she just presses W in a minion way, she heals, and nothing you can do about it. Her Q is a 3-second root, which is like, yeah, like that's Dota 2 CC levels. If you get hit by it, you're pretty much dead. Nothing you can do unless you have QSS or cleanse. Black Shield is probably the strongest shield in the game, like especially against certain champions. Like especially suppressed champions, like they try to go on your AD carry, you do the shield at the right time. They just wasted their ultimate. They're just sitting there like idiots. And it does block a lot of magic damage. Like the base on the shield is very high, so Black Shield's a really strong ability. If you're doing like double AP comps, or W does MR shreds, and that makes it very strong because people are gonna itemize MR. So having some form of MR shred is gonna be needed to work as a team. And the double wood up potential is insane with her. With Zanya's and her ulti, she just controls team fights. Like if you're playing dive heavy comp, you dive into Morgana, she just kills you with ult. And if she engages on you with ult, she can mess up your team. You kind of have to split apart so she can't stun all of you. So you end up isolating one of your teammates. And her ulti is so much crowd control without even landing the second part. And if it does land, well, it does a lot of damage and it stuns. I think her biggest weakness is the fact that she has a stupid 425 auto attack, which is kind of dog shit. It's really bad. And it's gonna be really bad in some lanes. Like, and especially against some melee champs, you're not gonna be able to auto attack them nearly as much. So if you're gonna have a weakness, I guess it's that, which is still a pretty big weakness. But all of her advantage makes her a S tier champion in my opinion. Number 12, I'm gonna have this is I think this is the last S tier champion, which is Zillion. Zillion is there. So Zillion, a little bit like Janna, he wins lanes by just existing. He wins lanes he's not even in. Like someone will get level 5 or level 6 before you because they have Zillion. Because of that, you died. Nothing you can do about it. So that's really frustrating to play against, but incredibly fun to have on your team. A little bit like Janna. You can't really counterpick him because he can just lane against anyone. His bombs one shots the wave, and it has a good range, and you can't really stop him from clearing the waves. So he can just lane against anyone. It doesn't matter. His ultimate is like game changing. There isn't like another champion that does anything like him. And it enables melee champions like Tryndamere, Jax. Well, Jax sucks, but he's one of the few melee champions. Like Tryndamere is really the big one, but like Skarner, even Lee Sin to do stuff that doesn't seem legal, but he does allow them to do stuff that normally they couldn't do because they move faster and they have a revive that they wouldn't have normally. And also, if you're against him and you're a melee champion, he can just slow you and have fun. You can't do anything. You're unplayable. So I think in a competitive setting, that's really good. Though for solo queue, I think his damage is a little low, and he's very team reliant. But he brings so much unique stuff that nobody else brings that I think he's warrant a S tier rating, and I think he's gonna be one of the better mid laners, especially in a competitive setting. And even in solo queue, like the thing in solo queue is that a lot of time how you're gonna lose a game is because someone got caught and they got killed. But with his ultimate, you can actually prevent that. So there's a lot of value in that. You can actually prevent your team from losing because your AD carry is an idiot and he wants to go farm the 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 rates without having any vision and he gets caught. So yeah, like even solo queue might not be as good as teams, but he's still gonna be really good. All right, now we're gonna go to A tier. This is like picks that are like usually strong. S tier like champions you should pick or ban like every game basically, but A tier like picks that are usually pretty strong, not as OP but strong. And in some situation, they're even stronger than some of the S tier champs. But you need that situation to arise for them to shine. Otherwise, they're just like strong picks. So A tier, I'm gonna put Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw in this version, I think 210 something range on his W at max level. So he's a really high range AD carry. And pushing towers is like one of the things that is kind of hard in this version of the game. So having a high range AD carry late game is a really strong tool for being able to win a game. He also has the flex potential because he can be played mid as an AP, and he's also good as AP. Like if you have the proper champions, he can be played AP mid, and it's a really good poke comp. So there's a flex potential there. He has built-in percent damage. So like if you're against Cho'Gath or some other IHP stacking champions, you're gonna be doing more damage that other AD carry can, which is very valuable. And it also enables very early Baron. If you're playing like Cog plus Nunu or against Cog and Nunu, you have to have Baron warded at 15 minutes for the rest of the game. Otherwise, they can sneak it at any moment. It's really powerful to have that ability to sneak Baron whenever. He has also better itemization because like you can do some unhit shenanigans like going Bork. So Bork has like better components. Can maybe even do Wits End. You can go Trinity Force. I remember Genja used to go Trinity Force on him. So there's some value to doing that build. So he's not locked into a specific item. He has options, which is very powerful way to carries that don't have to sit and wait for BF sword. Some kits to mention, he has an armor shred, and MR shred is Q, and he can reveal with his R. So that's a lot of utility. His E also slows and like one shot waves if you're AP, so that's why I think the AP build is really good. Problem is like champion has no mobility, and he needs people to support him. But like back then, the protect the Kog'Maw comps were really common, and they worked for a reason. And right now, there's no Irelia, there's no Akali, there's no Talon, there's no Zed, there's no like Riven, there's no champions really that can really abuse him. No LeBlanc. Like he's gonna have a really fun time if you're playing like a protected cog comp. He's gonna be a monster. Like if you play a comp of like Nunu jungle, Lulu support, Kog'Maw with like Nasus top and like Lee Sin jungle. Well, no, not Lee Sin jungle. Like, it doesn't matter who you have mid. Honestly, you can have fucking Heimerdinger for all I care. That comp is good. Like, Kog'Maw's a win condition by himself, so I think he's pretty good for that reason. But the other champion that does basically the same thing is Tristana. So they're basically the same ranking in my opinion. She's also a high range AD carry, which lets her kill turrets. And she's also a really good early pusher. And I think the Shiv Rush build can like you can just push and kill turrets. If you're doing like a push comp, like I mentioned, like turrets are global XP. There's a lot of value in that. She also has built-in grievous wounds, which is valuable. There isn't that much healing champions. There's really just like Mundo right now, but like once they add like Swain, Vladimir, and even against like double Woda comp, like you're gonna want some anti-heals. So like having some built-in anti-heal is a really strong utility. She has some flexing power, like you can play her AP, but I don't think it's nearly as good as AD. It is still playable. It's not a bad build. The problem with AP is you have no wave clear. Like you're just shit out of luck for pushing wave. Also a downside she has, like she's kind of weak until she has two full items. Like if you do the Shiv Rush build, you're gonna feel really weak until you get your IE in the mid game or your Bork, either or depends on the situation. So she has that downside of being like really weak mid game if you're going AD. So that's why she's not the best AD carry, but she's still really damn good. Number 15, Vex's favorite champion, Mr. Kartus. I don't know if people remember back then, but people were playing him top. Like that was actually a real thing. Like, people were playing top Kartus. And, like you can play him mid, you can play him top, you can play him jungle, you can even play him like bot as a mage carry and have like Corki mid or something. Like this is a thing you could do. Like this is what I like about this. There's so much flexibility with team comps. You can even do like some Moscow 5 shenanigans, like give him blue buff, do some lane swaps. You can clear waves without being there, kind of like Morgana. He has a lot of 1v2 lane potential. And you can just spawn Karta's gameplay where you kill people in side lanes while you're not even there, which enables tower dives and stuff like that. Or even counters tower dive. Like some teams wants to tower dive your bot lane. Well, if you're ulting, they might think twice. So there's like that aspect that's really powerful about this ultimate. It, in a team fight, he's probably the best AoE champion in the game. He has a lot of AoE. He has a lot of DPS, and because of that, he really is good at enabling early barons because he can just burst it down so fast with his Q and his E. His W is a little bit weaker. It's the percent shred one. Unfortunately, it's not the flat one. If it was the flat one, I think it'd be S tier, but it's still pretty good. Like a 15% shred is still very valuable, and the slow is still pretty good. One downside though is he takes a bit to ramp up. Like he's a Roa champion, so getting to Rod of Ages takes a while, and he's gonna need some bit of time to ramp up. He's also very immobile in some team fights. He's kind of a kamikaze. He kind of just has to go in and kill himself to use his passive a lot of times. And that can backfire if they can disengage. You can it just end up being Reginald, where you're diving two turrets deep and you die, and then you blame Wall Turtle for it because you're a brain dead idiot. But if you're not Reginald, that could still happen to you, but it's not gonna happen near as often. But it is something that really sucks. Number 16, Katarina. I think in solo queue she's S tier, but I think in solo queue this champion is S tier. Probably pick Ben, probably top five honestly. But in not solo queue, I don't think she's as broken. Reason why she's so good is like she's a melee mage, so normally you can bleed those out of lane, but no, she has Doran Shield. Doran Shield makes it really good on her and really hard to poke her out of lane. You're not gonna be trading like let's say you're playing a mage, you auto attack her, she's gonna take like 35 damage, and the three caster minions are gonna do 50 to you. It's not even worth it. So and that gives a lot of HP regen. So our laning phase is not nearly as bad as it is used to be in some older versions of the game. Her, her self-existing is kind of a win condition. Like if she gets reset, she can solo carry a team fight. It's kind of absurd what she can do. She's like a literal montage machine. But if she's behind, she also has the downside of not being get reset, and that's really sucks. So she is like really good when even slash ahead, but if she's behind, she can be a complete liability. So that's why she's maybe not S tier. She also has a ward from Trinket that she shouldn't have, but she has it, so that's an extra mobility tool that she can escape with, which makes her even harder to gank. She is a flex slash mid pick. You can play her top. It's a good build. You can go Sunfire plus some Magic Pen. It's a really, really annoying build to play against, but it is powerful. It does damage. It is very sticky, and she's really hard to kill. Her base damage are pretty good, and she has built-in damage reduction and built-in grievous wounds, so she has some form of utility and some form of inhale takiness. So the don't sleep on the top tank build. It could be a real thing in some matchups. Yeah, she does have a really hard time against hard CC though. Like playing against point and click stuns, not gonna have a fun time. But if they misuse them or if they don't have any of them, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna face roll the enemy team. Number 17, and Infinix would kill me if I put him any lower, is Mr. Gragas. Everyone, we like talking about the outplay combo. You just press Q and R and one shot someone. Well, that's yeah, it's pretty strong, and you can steal Baron with it. Like it does more damage than Smite. That ability to be able to steal objective is definitely very underrated. Since like I think in modern league Smite does like 2,000 damage, I was told or something. It's ridiculous. In this, you can actually steal objective. It is possible. He's extremely mobile for being a fat man, which makes no sense, but league logic. And he has built-in mana and HP sustain, so he's like really hard to push out of lane. And he has damage reduction, so he's like really tanky. Even though he doesn't really build defensive items, like at most he'll build like a Shushay's and maybe a Zanya's, and that's not really that much defense, but he's gonna have damage reduction, so he feels a lot tankier than he is. His Q as just one shots waves. He can roam. He can engage with his ulti. Just really good champion all around. Even has utility on his Q with attack speed slow. One downside is if you can decide to kill yourself by drinking alcohol at inopportune time. I've seen this happen a lot of times, so you don't want to be an alcoholic and kill yourself. So that's actually a real downside because you have to stand stationary to drink your alcohol, which can lead to you getting killed. And his dash can be body block, which is pretty bad. Like if you're getting ganked, you have to really angle your dash properly, or they can just cuck your exit and you can die from that. So also, I don't think I mentioned it, but I think he has MR per level in this, and he didn't have MR per level back then, I think. I could be wrong. If that's true, then it's a big buff. If not, then I'm just an idiot. But he's still A tier in my opinion. Number 18, we're continuing with 80 carries, Corki. I'm telling you, every 80 carry is like good. Like this is people that say 80 carries are weak are idiots. Don't listen to them. Their opinion's not worth anything. Just like Ezreal, he's a Trinity Force 80 carry. He's never gonna have a bad back. His Q is instant, so he's like really good at trades, and it reveals, which is kind of nice, especially when they run into bushes. And he has an armor shred on his E, so he has some form of utility. What's really good about him is he does magic damage, physical damage, and true damage. So it's like really hard to itemize against him. He can go like Trinity, Sork Shoes, Bloodthirster, and he's got a lot of mixed damage. He's got burst, he's got sustained damage. Like it's pretty hard to itemize against him. Even if you have like attack speed slows, he still does damage with his abilities. His wave clear is pretty good. He's got good poke, but his range is kind of short outside for this R. So he kind of needs to get in there to do some damage. Also, mana can definitely be an issue, especially early game. I think his Q is like 80 mana, level 1. It's pretty bad, but he is pretty strong once you get going. Like I said, he has no attack speed steroids though, so he really needs to hit his abilities, or else he does that much damage. Alright, 19. We have Sona, another A tier champion. Supports are also crazy strong in this version of the game. So Sona, I mean, I know it's PBE, but like I was literally 1v2ing lanes with her, and I think she can still do that in a more serious setting because her auto Q, auto passive does so much damage, and she has sustain, she has pokes, she has some form of mobility. So yeah, she can 1v2 some lanes by herself if you're really good. She also has great engage. Like her ulti plus flash can really kill a lot of people. and Chowster approves this message, so take his word for it. Mention Ardent Sensor again. Like if it's a rush item, it's meta. She can enable it with his W pretty easily. Her passive as a mini exhaust. So like wherever you auto attack with your passive is pretty much useless. Though her passive kind of feels bugged. I don't know if it works. Like the Q auto like when I played, you would just charge your Q twice in base. You'd walk into lane, auto Q, and it would auto reset with your passive. But I feel like it doesn't work like that anymore. I could be wrong, but if it does work like that, it's OP. If it doesn't, it's kind of weird that it doesn't work like that. She is kind of a master of all trades type support. Like she has some burst, some sustain, some utility, but she's not the best at all of them. Like if you want some utility, you're probably gonna prefer having Janna or Lu. Lu. If you want some burst, probably gonna prefer having Lulu or Morgana. If you're gonna want sustain, you might prefer having Soraka, but she does pretty much everything well, but not perfectly. So that's strong in its own right. She is very squishy though, so like if you're going to ward deep and you get caught, you're probably dead. It's very easy to kill Sona. There was a lot of meme clips in like season 3. You'd just see like the level 7 Sona going toward rates, and then the Zed just fucking one shots her with like an auto attack in the queue. So yeah, that's one of her biggest weakness. You have to be careful where you position yourself. But number 20, Mr. Nasus. Nasus kind of a just all around good champion. Can play him top, but I think he's better as a jungler because you have the Meteos to prove level 6 dragon solo. You just get level 6, you walk up to dragon, you press R, you kill dragon. And you do that every time it's off cooldown. And that's going to snowball your team's lead, and it allows you to have impact without doing anything. Wither is just one of the most absurd ability in the game, and if you max CDR, it's like a 6 second cooldown. So you can just basically perma snare someone, and people are not gonna have fun against it. But thankfully, there's cleanse and QSS, which means AD care players are gonna surely adapt and use their brain to innovate and adapt new strategies to counter this ability instead of whining on Reddit that it's OP and voting to nerf it. Surely, of course. So Armor Shred on his E is also pretty good utility. Really good if you're like playing with some AD champs on your team. But there isn't that many AD champs on your team. But still having Armor Shred is nice. If you're playing him top, at worst you're gonna go even. You just max E, go 2 Doran's rings. You just farm. Is At worst you go even. You have Wither. You're always useful. So yeah, if you but he is also if you're playing him top, he is kind of a late game win condition. He has infinite scaling. His Q at some point is gonna reach critical mass where they can't 1v1 you, and you're just able to push, split push it, and kill inhibitor and win the game. Like Darshan or Zion Spartan did against TSM. One of his big weakness though, he's very immobile, very easy to kite him, and he is weak level 1 to 4. Even as jungle, like you can get invaded and get screwed over. In top lane, you can get screwed over early game as well. So like be careful with your early levels. He's not very strong early, but once he gets going, he's pretty good. Number 21. Oh, I said 11. 21. New. This champion can completely make someone's life miserable, and it's kind of funny. And he doesn't even need items to be useful, so that's like you're basically sinking the other champion to your level, and you're more useful than them. So he's basically just a prick. Nunu's an asshole, but he's a good type of asshole. You need those kinds of asshole to keep some champions honest. He's better suited as a jungler. I know some people might want to play him support or solo lane, but A lot of his power comes from consuming monsters, and monsters will give you HP, movement speed, and damage on hit. So you're gonna want to jungle him so you can eat camps and get those buffs. He also has attack speed so on his E and his R, so he's always gonna have some form of utility. And he's probably the best control objective, except for maybe Cho'Gath, because Consume plus Smite lets you secure pretty much anything, and he's really good for early Barons, with, especially like I said with Kog'Maw. You blood boil the AD carry and you have Consume, you can really burst down Baron very fast. Yeah. Blood Bowl is basically almost worth a Zephyr in terms of stats when we're talking about like attack speed and movement speed. So that's pretty good. The Idikiri gets that for doing nothing. His main downside though is he has no hard CC, so his ganks are not that good. You really gotta focus on like making the other jungler's life miserable more so than ganking. But his ganks can be good, especially if they're like overextended. He also does no damage later, like so. The game goes really late. You're kind of just there to blood bowl your AD carry and be a meat shield. You're not gonna be a carry, which is why he's probably not as good in solo queue, but in the competitive setting, he's pretty good. Rise number 22. I feel like people either overrate him or underrate him. Was he rated here? 17. I guess it's kind of in the ballpark. Thing with Rise is he's a late game hyper carry for sure. He does a lot of damage and he builds defensive items to do damage. He gets max CDR with like one item because you can go 9-0-21, get 10 CDR there. You get 10 CDR from your Q, and then you just build Frozen Art or Spirit Visage in some situation, and you have 20, 40 CDR. He has reliable CC, and Flash Root is obviously a good engage. His EMR Shreds, which in double AP comps is very useful, and against melees, that shit will bounce on you like 3 times and it will shred MR every time. So you'll get fucking destroyed. So be careful of Rise E when you're playing against him. Like I said, he's hyper carry, but he takes time to ramp up. His wave clear is non-existent early, and his range is really short. So you've got like people are gonna complain about this champion because he's got no counterplay. You don't beat this champion by outplaying him. You beat him by outdrafting him or out macroing him or by having a champion that outranges him. You don't beat him because you outplayed his abilities. He's gonna stat check you. And that's fine. That's old league, baby. If you're gonna cry about it, go play retail. Number 23, Vayne. She's also a late game hyper carry. And she can create insane Gusu montage clips. Like, she can outplay people and make them look silly, and it's really impressive. So she's definitely one of the harder champions to play. And, but if you don't have a father figure, you can also flex her and play top. But hopefully you had a father figure in your life because that would really be sad that you're playing top lane Vayne. That'd be like, come on, dude, you want to talk about it? We can talk about it. She does percent HP true damage, like LoL, that has no counterplay. You can't build health, can't build armor, can't build MR. The only good saving grace is that you can build Frozen Art and Randuin's. But yeah, percent HP true damage, stupid concept. She can auto E-auto to proc silver bolt, which is fucking anti-fun as fuck, which I think her laning phase is gonna be better than people think because she has a way to trade that she doesn't on live. She just she does have no wave clear, and her early laning still isn't as good as other AD carries. So that's gonna be one of her weakness, and she's very squishy, and you have to be good. In a team fight, pink wards are gonna make your tumble useless, and surely retail players will buy pink wards, right, chat? Alright. No, they won't. Ah, god damn it. I'm gonna have to ban Vayne. Probably the best lane swap champion because she has a lot of bad matchups bot lane in my opinion, and if you lane swap, you that problem is gone, and you can get to free farm with at least one item. She's gonna lose the push war, but I mean you get to free farm on Vayne. I think it's a pretty good deal. I think this is the last A tier champion. It's Nidalee. I think there's one more maybe. I don't know. Nidalee. She's a flex mid slash top, and depending on which role you're playing, she's a completely different champion in a different role. Like, do you want to take the Bishu pill or you want to take the RF legendary pill? If you play her AD Bruiser, she has the OP Trinity Force. She has OP Spirit Visage. Against AP, she can go Chalice Visage, and what the fuck are they gonna do? The only downside with that is that Thorn Shield plus Defensive Tree is really good against her, but she still does a lot of damage. And she has the 5 HP on hit Thorn's Blade. Like, I think she's still really good as an 80 bruiser, despite all of that. As AP, well, you remember Pink Ward the Spear? Well, you're gonna be Pink Warding those spears because she can one shot the 80 carry with like 3 items if she does the True Spear and dash backward shenanigan that she does. She has really good roam potential because she's really mobile, and the fact that she can itemize both AD and AP is like really good. Because like even if you play her top, you can still go like AP-ish bruiser and still be like a really good poke champion with some good Cougar form damage. Like item flexibility is something that's like really valuable in this version of the game, in my opinion. It's not like season 5 where you're playing fucking Maokai top and you're like, all right, well this game I'm gonna go Righteous Glory, Spirit Visage, Frozen Heart, no matter what. It doesn't matter what their team com is. I'm building those 3 items. I don't have to think. Well, in this, you have to think. You have to make some choices. So I like that. Also, she always has utility. She has insane utility. Her E gives a 60% attack speed steroid for 7 seconds. Like, what the fuck? So much attack speed for so long. And her W is Trundle Ultimate. It shreds armor MR for 40 seconds and reveals for 12 seconds. Like, if you strap on a trap, you're fucking miserable, bro. You can't go engage. If you get caught, you're dead. You have no fucking resistances. So that makes her like insane in sieges because like you can just place those traps everywhere. They can't flank you, and then you just have insane poke with your spear. You got eel like siege, like a siege comp at Nidalee and Janna. It's gonna be fucking miserable to play against, especially with such low engage power there is in the game right now. God, that's so strong. The only weakness, like she's got no wave clear, so you gotta have wave clear from either your AD carry or your top or your jungle or even support. So you need wave clears from someone. And she does require a lot of skill. Like this champion requires a shit ton of skill to play. Alright, I was wrong. The last A tier champion is in fact Anivia. Yeah, you gotta be Froggen Pill to play this champion, and you gotta watch CLG versus M5 to make sure you get your daily dose of PTSD from watching an 80-minute game from just because Froggen is playing Anivia and they can't end. She's the reason why Baron buff is buffs minions. Like this game is the only reason why this shit exists. I'm not even joking. Riot, everyone who played in this era has collective PTSD from this game, and that's why this is in the game. I want it gone because I want to relive my traumas of my childhood, but that's because I'm a sick fuck. But anyways, I want this gone, but you know, she's the reason why this is in the game because she has the best wave clear in the game. Like you press Q, you press R, the wave is gone. Nothing you can do. It has a lot of range. The roster is very immobile, so her wall is a lot stronger than it is in later versions of the game. She has a hard CC stun. She's got soft CC with a slow. She's got burst. She's got sustained damage. She pretty much does everything, so why isn't she that high? Well, she's fucking worthless as fuck before level 6. and she absolutely needs the second blue buff. If you don't get the second blue buff on this hero, it's fucking miserable. You can't lane, you run out of mana so fast, and even with Chalice, you're gonna have a miserable time. She's extremely immobile and vulnerable. Like if you get a gank on her early, she's pretty much dead if she's overextended. Even with the egg, unless she manages to egg into tower range, she's just dead. She also has one of the worst auto attacks in the game, both from an animation standpoint and from AD. So CSing on her is a fucking nightmare, and CSing on the turret early is even more terrible. So that's really bad. And one saving grace is the auto attack has 600 range, so she has that going for her, I guess. But yeah, one of the hardest champions to play for sure. Like you're gonna need to be good at the game to play this champion. If you're playing her and you're not very good at her, you're probably gonna feel like she's weak. Alright, now we're into B tier. These champions are like good. They're not OP. They're not like pick ban, but they're good. Like they're not bad champions. And in some situations, they can be pretty good. Like they're pretty great. So to start off B tier, we're gonna have my boy, the most slandered hero in this list, a Mumu. Like who the fuck puts him at 5? He's not bad. He's good. He's really easy to play. His champion's gonna be 55% win rate. I'm telling you, he's so easy to play. He's gonna be 55% win rate, and no one's gonna be asking for nerfs. That's what's beautiful about it. You can go full tank with like Golem, Tabby, and Runic Bulwark, and be a utility tank. But or if you get fed, you can do the Azingi build and go like Sork Shoes, Hunting Guys, Sunfire. It's a really good build. He has good base damage, so there's some flexibility in your build, and you can carry with this build. He has percent L damage on his W, so you can do early Barons. Also a very strong tool, as we've talked about. He has probably one of the best engage in the game. Like he has Banish Toss and his ultimate pretty much can knock down an entire team. And even when you build full tank, he does good damage. Why is he not higher? Well, his clears fucking sucks if he doesn't have blue buff, and he's gonna need second blue. He can't really clear without the first two blue buff. And his ultimate is a really long cooldown, which is another reason why you're gonna want to have blue buff, because if you cast ultimate and you don't have blue buff, you can't do shit for 3 minutes. You're fucking useless. But if you cast it with blue buff, you have more leeway. But yeah, that's a really big downside, especially late game. Like death timers are not that high, so you might have a situation where you win a team fight and then people respawn and your ultimate isn't even back up, and then you lose the team fight and you lose Baron or lose the game or somehow, I don't know. It could happen. Like his ultimate cooldown is really bad. He's also one of the most worthless level 1 champion in the game. Like if you get invaded, you're basically a fucking dummy who just sits there and does nothing and cries, which is literally what he is. So like if you invade him level 1 and you steal his blue buff, he's fucking so fucked. He's has such a hard time getting back into the game. So in a competitive setting, you can draft around that and make him miserable level 1, which is a pretty big weakness. Up next, we have the most underrated. He's so underrated. Everyone says he's underrated, so I think he's actually properly rated. Wukong. He's kind of like a flex mid jungle top champion. He's great mid because he kind of shits on mages that are not mobile. If you're against like Kassadin or Anivia or like even Karthus, Wukong mid's gonna dumpster on those champions. As a jungler, he has pretty good clear, good attack speed. The dummy can take damage from the camps, and his ganks are pretty good because you can like walk into the lane while you're stealthed and get behind them. It's pretty good. Sadly, the buffs don't show in his clones, so the juking potential is not there if you have buffs. But if you don't have buffs, you press S, it looks like you just clone. So the juking potential if you don't have buffs is pretty high. But if you have buffs, don't even bother trying. He's one of the few champions with good engage. Like you just stealth in, Especially if you have like booby boots, like you stealth in, you get the ER and you just have a lot of damage in CC. Unfortunately, he's very vulnerable to disengage tools. Like if you're against Janna or even Lulu, you're gonna have even Gragas, like can just ult knock you away. So you're just gonna go in, get knocked back, and you look like a fool. He also has no sustain, no utility. So if he's not in and doing damage, he's pretty useless. So in sieges, if you're playing like a poke comp and they have Janna and you're not able to engage, you're gonna feel pretty fucking worthless. He also needs to build damage to be a champion. You have to build like Lizard, Brutalizer, Cleaver. So in the mid game, you might feel like you're squishy, which is definitely a big downside, especially if you're a bit behind in levels and gold. So for that reason, he's properly rated as a B tier champion, even though everyone thinks he's underrated. 28 hash, the ultimate Ginja build AD carry, where you're basically playing a support, but you're the AD carry. One thing that's funny with her, she's probably the strongest level 1 AD carry because she has a guaranteed crit, and volley is basically guaranteed to hit at someone and it slows. So if you're doing like a level 1 invade, you can really cheese someone at and force a flash or maybe even get a kill. She's really low damage for AD carry, but she makes up for it in all sorts of things. She has a one of the best engage in the game because her ulti is global and you can basically isolate a target and kill them. And she has vision on her E. She has perma slows, so she's really useful. But her damage isn't that good. So you have to have other champions on your team that do good damage, or else you might struggle in the late game. Yeah, she more of a support role for AD carry, but she does have gold on her passive E. So if you're just farming with her, you're gonna out generate wealth if you get some points into your E. She does have a problem with not having good wave clear because her W can get blocked by minions, and it's not that good for wave clears sometimes, especially when you're like in a siege. If you're in lane, you can line up properly, get the W in a proper spot, and the wave clear is fine. But like in a pure siege, the wave clear is not gonna be there, and she's really immobile and more team reliant than a lot of the other ADCs. But like I mentioned with Kog'Maw, there isn't that many champions that can abuse her. Like there's no Irelia, there's no Talon, there's no Riven. So I think for that reason she's a lot stronger than she will be in a few patches. Number 29. Basically the same hero as Ash, but more damage and less utility. Mr. Twitch. You gotta be from Maple Street build. I'm just referencing every fucking main that played these usual back then, but Maple Street had a really good build on him. Late game with his ult, he has like the highest range, which is very valuable for turrets and in team fights. He's good at roaming, good at getting picks, which is kind of unusual for an AD carry, but it can be very powerful, especially when you're doing lane swaps, which is I think gonna be common in competitive settings. He has that potential to be a hyper carry late game, and he's got a mid game spike build. If you go Sword of the Divine, your ultimate gives you AD and your Q gives you an attack speed steroid. So if you go like IE plus Sword of Divine, you can really cheese and one shot some guy. Like that guy is gonna get fucking melted. And I think that build is very powerful mid game. And Sword of Divine is pretty cheap, I think. I think it's like 2,300 or something. It's pretty cheap for an AD carry item. So I think for that reason, he has a pretty good mid game, and that pick potential is pretty underrated. I don't like his W though. They gave him the flask that he throws. His old W was like a slow if they were like they had stacks. I think that W was better. So I'm not a fan of that. His R is called Spray and Pay and not Ratatata because Baby Mill didn't write the song at the time. If you know, you know. He's kind of a weak laner. He has poor wave clear, so that's kind of a downside as well. He's immobile and squishy. And if they have a pink ward, you're gonna get killed. Like if you're trying to do some sneaky stuff and they have a pink ward, you're gonna look silly. But all around, he's pretty good, and I don't think like I think he can be really good in some situations. Kind of like Kog'Maw, like protect Twitch comps are not bad. They're pretty good even. Number 30, inverted composer's favorite champion, Singed. I think he's better than he should be because Spellvamp I think is bugged, or if it's intended, that's stupid. His Q is 100% healing, a bit like my Ahri's broken. And they added the thing where his poison always gives the last hit. I think that's bad. It should not be in. Makes him like too easy to CS with. Makes him easier to play for no reason. And that's really gonna bump up his win rate for no for some reason they decided that should be a thing, but hopefully that gets reverted. But that makes him a lot stronger than he should be. Thankfully though, you still have to manually do the sky auto attack. So when you fling, you can auto attack them when they're midair, kind of like the Ed thing, but you have to do it manually. I think it's automatic in live, but I don't play live, so I can't comment. Reason why he's not that high though is he's got no tenacity on his R. So he's not like the OP early season tree version with tenacity on his R that just run around and kill people and be unkillable because you can't CC him. But he does have the MR per level for just for existing, so that's something he didn't have at the time. That's really nice. He's gonna be really obnoxious to play against in solo queue because you just know people are gonna be doing the proxy stupid build because death timers are really short. Wave clear is really hard to obtain. So people are gonna be doing the proxy build a lot and it's gonna be really fucking annoying. I don't think it's as good in like a real setting, but like in solo queue it's gonna be really annoying. And even in professional situations, if he gets into a situation where you can just proxy, not proxy in base, but you can like go proxy behind the two towers and then go steal golems. Like you can do that, and that's gonna be really annoying. He's got a good mix of damage and tankiness, but he's still pretty kiteable. Especially like they have a Janna on their team. It's so fucking miserable. You'll actually lose lane because they have Janna. We were playing in the game, like, our Singe was against Twisted Fate top, and after 20 minutes, he literally said, yeah, I lost lane because they had Janna. I could not win the lane because of that. If they didn't have Janna, I would have won lane. And I fully believe him. So, yeah, if you're against Janna, probably don't want to pick Singe. Another thing he has going for him is a lot of his matchups that are bad are not in the game yet. Like he's really bad against Kennen, he's really bad against Vladimir, but they're not in the game yet, so he has that going for him, which is nice. But I don't think he's as OP as he could have been if they gave him a different patch in terms of numbers. But he's still pretty good. I think he's a solid pick. Especially with the spell vamp bug, like double wood at comps, gonna be really strong. Alright, number 31, Soraka. Kind of have him lower than I originally thought, but she's still pretty good. She can be played mid, top, and support. She's good into heavy AP comps because she has MR as an aura, so in team fights, that aura is pretty valuable. In a bot lane both support role or AD carrier or a mage she lanes with is always gonna have infinite sustain. She is the only champion that can give mana, which is pretty good if you're playing like Corki or something like Rise or Karthus bot lane and you want to have mana. She's pretty good to have for that reason. Her eel also gives armor, so it make some champions feel very tanky when you don't really understand why. Well, she gave them armor from healing them. So if you're playing a bruiser and you're diving the ED carry and she heals the ED carry, You're gonna be facing 100 something armor, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck? I do no damage." So that's one of the reasons why she's still pretty good. She also has this the Kartus power of influencing fights from her spawn, which is always going to be valuable, especially if you're tower diving or defending a tower dive. For mid and top, her Q is like insane. She can push and trade and shred MRs, so she's pretty good at that. But the problem with that is that she also is very immobile and vulnerable to gank. So you have to have good vision and player smart, or you're gonna end up like I in that show match where you just kept pushing and getting killed. Her E is really good, especially against like Katarina and casters, but you can't self cast for mana, so that's a pretty big downside in this version. She used to be able to do that, but they decided that'd probably be too OP, so I understand why they wouldn't give it to her. She has also very short range, a little bit like Rise. She has to build tanky, but she doesn't really scale and damage from building tanky, so that's a bit of a bummer. But she's still very solid. Like the Rise tanky build as Soul Laner, good build as a support. Like as she's got the armor on her eel, makes it hard to dive. The AD carry. She got the silence. She's got global influence. I think she's just really overall decent and very easy to play, which makes her like pretty good for new players. Number 32, Tarek, another very easy to play support. Gems are truly outrageous. You think he's best as a support, but I think you could play him top. Like if you, I think there's a build there where it could work. You could go like Man Immune, Frozen Heart, Spirit Visage, Within, Randuin, something like that. I think that's a real build. It could work, but I don't think he's suited to play top nearly as much as he's suited to play support. Because he has a point and click stun, which makes him a very good roamer. Like once you have your Sightstone and your Moby boots, you can go around and get some kills in side lanes. It's really, really strong. He's kind of an aura blow champion. He's got aura on his ultimate, gives 80 and AP, and he's got the armor aura on his W, which when you activate shreds armor. So he's pretty good in skirmishes because the cooldowns are pretty small, and the aura blow makes him pretty useful in team fights. He does have a heal. It's not very good, but it's better than nothing. So he has some decent sustain. Downside is like he's really immobile and he's predictable. Like when you see a Tarek, you know exactly what he's gonna do. And against like champion with spell shield, Zanya's, Banshee's Veil, you're gonna have a really miserable time because they can just block your stun, and that's basically your entire kit in team fights. Other than your aura bloat, you're gonna feel like you're not contributing. Late game, yeah, he's not as good as other supports late game, so he's really reliant on like snowballing lane and getting a lead from rooms in the mid game. So if you're picking him, you probably want to pick him in a comp that's like good early. You don't want to pick him in an hyper scaling comp. Number 33, Viger. He's got the instant cage, 2.5 second stun, so you just know those two Vietnamese Veigar players, Viger, Veigar, whatever fuck, are gonna fucking love this champion. They're gonna pop off and destroy solo queue with them. So that's why I think he's a mid and support flex. Like the instant cage, like insanely strong. Like he just needs to get level 9 and he's basically at full power as a support. A point and click Q makes him pretty easy to play. The problem is he doesn't have that much wave clear, at least early. Once he gets some AP, his W clears pretty well, but early it kind of sucks. His ultimate, the projectile is pretty slow, so if they have a spell shield or Zanya's, they can block your ultimate and you're pretty useless. Otherwise, he does pretty good damage, but kind of immobile, short range, and vulnerable. You're really like 80% of his power is literally disability. If you don't land this ability constantly, don't even play this champion. You're gonna be feeling like you're an F tier champion. Like But if you're good at this ability, you're gonna be a fucking menace and you're gonna do really well. So that's why I think he's pretty good, but he's not OP. Number 34. Basically, like every champ from Soraka to like Kassadin are pretty much interchangeable. Like I could say that this is the proper order. Like it, I'm just putting it in that order because that's my opinion. But like all these champions are basically the same power level in my opinion. Cho'Gath. What's good about Cho'Gath? Alright, are you odd one pilled or odd shot GG pilled? If you're odd shot GG pilled, you go top, you build Wits End, and you max E. If you're odd one pilled, you max W, you go jungle, and you build Runic Bulwark. He's got a good silence, he's got good knockups, he's always going to be useful. Like Nunu, he controls objectives, can rush Baron also. He can build pretty much anything he wants. Like honestly, you can even be flex mid. Like you can play him full AP mid. It's not a bad build. It is playable. It's not the best build, but it is playable. And yeah, you can do the Wits End Bruiserish, like or go full tank aura. The real reason why he's not that good is you can start chain dying. You die once, you lose your stacks, and because of that, you die again. It can feel miserable. So that's one of the really annoying part. He's immobile and his ability can easily be dodged. That's also a pretty big downside. So you have to be good at landing your skill shots. Alright, he's not S tier 95% pig ban, guys. Caston is not that OP. I know every AD players are screaming, saying, no, he's a perma pig ban champion, you're an idiot. Yes, if he gets level 16, he is a monster, but it takes forever to get there. He's gonna need items. He's gonna need levels. You can 1v2 lane him. Like, what he's gonna do? There's absolutely nothing you can do in a lane swap situation. He also needs blue buffs. If you control the jungle, you're gonna steal blue buffs and you're gonna win. Like, if you're against Kassadin in a professional setting, you lane swap, or you pick like Wukong mid against him because they're like first picking him. You're gonna dumpster Kassadin, you're gonna get mid turret, you're gonna get deep vision, you're gonna steal their blue buffs, and he's gonna never get to the point where he is the late game Kassadin that everyone fears, and you're just gonna win. He's absolutely worthless before level 6, and people are completely overrating him. I think he's not as good as he is advertised. He's a good champion. He's just not the first pick material. He's situationally extremely strong, but in most cases he is not. This is not a S tier pick ban champion. 36. The one thing you like I said, like we're in B tier, and these champions are still pretty well rated. Because a lot of champions are good in this version. They're all playable, except for a few. So Jarvan, he's pretty easy to play. He's one of the few champions who's good at engaging, and he can help. He's professional at that. He would be A tier if his E gave armor, but unfortunately his E only gives the attack speed aura part. So that's a bummer because I really like Jarvan, but that's a really big hit to his power. He does have an armor shred on his Q, so he's always gonna be like useful. The big problem with him is that his clear is pretty slow, and he needs to use his escape to clear the jungle. So it's like really easy to catch him off guard and kill him in the jungle early. And you can't if you build damage on him, it's not that good. So he works best as like a full tank or tank. And at that point, I think you're better off playing Nunu, I'm gonna be honest, but it's still pretty good. Like damage does fall pretty quickly. And he works pretty well for a low budget. Like on a low budget, like you just get Golem, Tabai, Runic Bulwark, you're good to go. Alright, up next we have Pantheon. In solo queue, this champion might be S tier, but this is not solo queue. Like he's an amazing lane bully. He's got point and click stun. He's got semi global. He's good at early tower dives. He he's got all these things going for him. but he's fucking useless against Art CC and disengage. Like you're gonna jump in, you're gonna get hit by a Janna tornado, and then you're just gonna be a sitting duck, and you're gonna die. Or you're gonna get polymorphed by Lulu and die. Like this, in a competitive setting, I think he's a lot weaker. But one thing that makes him decent competitive is he's a great flex pick. You can play him mid, you can play him top, you can play him jungle, you can play him support even. And you're always gonna have that point and click stun and the global presence. So he's for that reason I think he's still a good champion. But he needs to build damage to scale, or else he's in, which means he's gonna be squishy. So that's why I don't think he's that as good as he is in solo queue in a competitive setting. Up next, Warwick. I'm a big Warwick fan, but as a top laner. He is very easy to play, so if you're like new and you want to play jungle, we'll just play him jungle. He's you can't mess it up. No, you can mess it up actually. He has the cheap Wits End, a strong Sunfire, and Feral Flare to go. Like he has really good items. He can do Baron very early. The only problem is that every time that Warwick builds Madred's Blood Razor, unfortunately, a children is born in Denmark and he is forced to learn to speak Danish. That's a fucking tragedy. Together we can stop this. Don't build Madred's Blood Razor on Warwick. Save a children's life from being born in Denmark and forced to learn that unspeakable, unreadable, gibberish language that should not exist. So, yeah, he has like good items like Wits End, Feral Flare, good items, costs about as much as Madrid Blood Razor, and it's way better. Don't build this item, it's so bad. He has an attack speed aura with his W, which is kind of goes unnoticed, but it is really strong in team fights, and that makes him really good in the mid game. If you max it, like if you do like 3 points in Q and max W, you're really strong in mid game team fights, and your AD carry is gonna love you for it. He does have the QSS tax thing going for him. He does screw over the build pad of some champions, which is good. Problem is like he's immobile. He doesn't clear fast. Doesn't really have wave clear pre Sunfire, and he's really vulnerable to stuns. So I think in a competitive setting he's a little bit weaker, but in a new player solo queue, I think he's a lot better. 39, the Gangplank. I think everyone like why did people rate this champion? Actually, people rated him appropriately in my opinion. Though a lot of people will live and die by Gangplank being really strong, and I don't buy it. Sure, he has like really high base stats and one of the strongest level 1, but Freak lied. He only has 3 stacks on his passive, not 5, so he's not as good as you may think. He's a safe laner. He can lane fine against most champions except Pantheon, and he has a global ultimate, which may impact a fight depending on if you're lucky or not. So he has that going for him. He's always going to have the 80 steroid and movement speed aura for his team. But the problem is he's really weak without items. Like he's going to have a really strong level 1 to 4, but after that he falls off a cliff and he really needs to build Trinity or Shiv to get going. If he doesn't have those items, he feels really weak. His damage is really lackluster. One thing that's going for him is that you can skip boots if you go movement speed quints in utility. You actually have enough movement speed with just Emax and Shiv and Trinity. So that's really nice. But that alone is not enough to make you a S tier champion. Also, everyone's a fucking noob and they max their Q and get 4 GP10. Maybe not the 4 GP10, but they definitely max their Q and it's terrible. You should be maxing your W or your E on this champion. Probably W in most games. I think 3 points in W and then max E is pretty good. But Qmax just increases the mana cost and makes you weaker. Like you get like 20 damage per level, but the mana cost goes up. That's not worth it. He has no hard CC, which makes him hard to justify. in a competitive setting. Like he doesn't really excel at anything. He's like just an all around decent champion, but I think there's some better picks than him competitively. Probably better in solo queue, where you can like actually get to those high ticket item and maybe get lucky with the crits. Okay, I think this might be the last B tier champion, Malzahar. He's very easy to play, like Warwick. Like you just press. You, he has a point cliff wave clear with E, but I guess he's ice skill cap because in this version you have to press W before pressing R. You do no damage, which is a very ice skill cap for the average Malzahar player. His Q apparently can hit twice. Like someone really insists that this is a thing, and I'm gonna take his word for it, even though I didn't test it. But apparently his Q can hit twice, and if that's true, that's a lot of fucking damage. So if you can hit the double Q, that's insane. Actually, might be higher, but the Q is kind of hard to hit. He has the ultimate QSS tax. Like of all the champions, you're gonna get QSS taxed. I think Malzahar is the biggest one because his entire kit is old. It's not like Skarner that can still auto attack you to death, or Warwick that has the attack speed, or and can still drain tank and shit. This champion without his R is pretty fucking worthless. Uh, he's really immobile and really vulnerable to CC, so for that reason, I don't think he's that good. But he has his situations where he can be really strong. And he's got a funny off meta AD build. Like he can go 80 and his Voidlings do a shit ton of damage. It's actually not bad. And I think the Voidlings like you can do some really early Barons and Dragons with that build. It's something that could be worth experimenting if you're like playing for fun. I don't know if it's good in a competitive setting, but it's a funny build to try out. Alright, C tier. These are champions that are like decent, but in some situations can be like pretty damn good. So these champions, like you're probably not gonna blind pick them, but if you see a situation where they're good, they can be competitively viable. And now is my boy, the second most slandered champion in the game, my boy Mundo, which I think is actually pretty good. So Mundo, IC tier. And why is that? I mean, you can play him top. I don't think it's that good, but he clears the jungle really fast. And the reason why I think he's situationally strong is because against AP heavy comps, you can build Visage, Force of Nature, and Runic Bulwark. And those items are amazing on him. And you're gonna be fucking unkillable with that. So against AP heavy comp, he's a great pick. He's also really good for early barons. Like I've mentioned how strong that is, but his cleaver does a shit ton of damage. And for that reason, he can really he can push objectives very early with his team. He does a lot of damage just building full tank. Like you'll all remember the Acha GD clip of like 700 damage. Well, it's true. He does a shit ton of damage. And Tenacity's bugged, so he's like basically immune to CC right now with his W and some Tenacity. So that's fun. Reason why he's not that good, and I is that they put him higher is he gets really low in the jungle, and for that reason he can be very vulnerable to invades, and he doesn't really have that much options to gank early, so your lanes could fall behind pretty hard. He also has no hard CC, which is a pretty big downside to have as a jungler, and he's very vulnerable to Greaser's wounds. And we've established that like Tristana, Katarina, and some other champs have built-in Grievous runes into their kit, so you don't want to pick this champion into those champions, or you're gonna have a very miserable time. All right, IC tier, also situationally very strong, but not always good. If you guys remember Poopbot 101, that's a goaded reference. He used to play AP Scion all the time. He has good wave clear and roaming potential, which makes him good in like solo queue. He also has the point and click CC, but what he's really good at is he's good against those champions like Katarina, Warwick, etc., who like are really miserable against point and click CC and that can't push. Like once they add like LeBlanc to the game, Sion is the go-to counter. Like you pick Sion against her, you push, you roam, she's gonna have a miserable time, and there's nothing she can do about it. Bad players are gonna definitely tank his win rate, so there's a chance he might get buffed. Like all the redditors think that AP Sion is OP, but in reality he's just a really good situational pick who's like average otherwise. So and people are gonna try the AD build and it's fucking dog shit. Don't even bother trying. That AD build Sion is fucking terrible. And that's gonna tank his win rate, so you might get buffed. Another downside is like if your shield gets broken, you do no damage. So try to be smart about that. And he has Dota 2 mana cost. Like I think he can cast like two abilities level 1 and he's out of mana. So yeah, that's fun. S Leona. Like I put her C tier, but she's still a very good support. Like she's deceptively tanky. She's got good CC, good engage power, and people underestimate how much damage her passive does in the early game. In a competitive setting, our level one invade is really, really strong. Like you can really mess someone up. And also one thing I didn't write, but you can auto queue auto award when it gets placed, so you should always have control of bushes. Like you can deny vision that way, and yeah, I think our early game is very, very underutilized. One thing I didn't mention, but Ur and Terra can start Doran Shield. Like I'm not even joking. Even as support, you can go Doran Shield first item as support Terra and Leona, and you're walking into a lane with like 700 health, maybe 800 if you get some health runes. Like, what the fuck are they gonna do? You've got 800 health. You just walk up to them and stun them. Have presence in the lane. Support is so easy. So yeah, like she works pretty well early game. The only problem she has, she just got no sustain, no poke. So you kind of have to go all in on her. Like you can't just sit there and do nothing. But if she gets ahead, she's really, 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 really oppressive. But if she falls behind, you're gonna feel like you're fucking worthless. And supports are very low income. They need to buy wards, they need to buy sightstone, they need to buy oracles, or you're trolling. Like so, you're gonna have a weaker mid to late game. You're gonna feel squishy. Also, she's terrible against Janna. Like Janna just shits on you. She tornadoes your E. You're fucking worthless. So I think she's a good pick. Like you just don't pick her into Janna or Morgana. Like pick her into like Sona, Soraka, or Lulu. That's where you're gonna have a way better time. Though Lulu's not that. I mean, Lulu's. I think it's a skill matchup, but against Sona, you'll dumpster. 44 Blitzcrank. I think he's like basically the same thing as Leona. Like he's actually like same power in my opinion. Yeah, be like Mad Life pilled or OG double lift. You need a god hand. Like if you don't land your hooks, you're fucking worthless. Don't even bother playing this champion if you can't land hooks. But he's got like really good roaming potential. He moves really fast around the map. He's got hard CC. He's got silence. The reason why I think he's really underrated sometimes, and they can be really good in like where the hell was he rated in this? Actually, they rated him pretty high, huh? Maybe I'm underrating him, but he is really funny with his level one stuff. Like he has the potential to like you can walk up to blue buff and let's say you're against like a really bad player. Like this is like a solo queue thing, right? A lot of people will just smite the camp to start the camp because they want to get the cooldown faster so they can av it up once they're at red buff. So if they do that and you walk in, you pull the blue buff away, you reset it, ills to full. That jungler's game is ruined. You just won your jungler the game if your jungler is not an idiot. Because now your jungler can go invade the red buff after he's done with his clear. And you're gonna have a snowball just because you decide to troll their fucking jungler. The problem with that also is that this pull can be a double-edged sword. You can grief your team if you pull the wrong target. Like if you pull an Alistar or an Amumu, you might just lose your team the game. So if you're trying to soft int your someone you don't like, pick Blitzcrank and pull the Amumu into your team. But otherwise, nah, his pool is pretty good. One downside is you need vision to make plays, and for that reason, I think a lot of players are not going to have the visions needed. And if you're behind, you're going to have a hard time placing vision deep. You're going to get denied by pink wards, by oracles. So I think he's more of a feaster, kind of like Leona. If he's ahead, really strong. When he's behind, kind of feels useless. And yeah, Banshee's Veil and Spell Shields. I mean, I say Spell Shields, it's really just Sivir, but like once they add like Nocturne and shit, it's gonna be more relevant. But like, yeah, Banshee's Veil really fucks you. Like if they build Banshee's Veil, you're gonna feel miserable. Alright, 45. I'm just gonna note this is Fiddlestick's support rating. If you play him jungle, he's dog shit. Don't play him jungle. If you're even if you're Nikon, you're not gonna save this champion. He clears too slow. He needs blue buff. He's useless level 1. He doesn't get level 2 from the buff, so he's just sitting there. You have to beg your fucking AD carry support to attack the little shitter golems to get them low so you can actually play the game. Or else you're just sitting there. It takes you like 3 minutes to clear like 2 camps. It's fucking ridiculous how bad his clear is. Don't play him jungle. It's fucking terrible. As a support, yeah, point and click 3 second fear. He has a really good learning tool. His E bounces and silences can really, really mess up some champions that don't have sustain. He also only really needs Zanyas to be a champion, which is doable on a support budget. Like you can go Moby's Sightstone Zanyas. That is something that is possible to do as a support. It's gonna take a while to get there, but once you get Zanyas, you're really gonna be strong in team fights, even though you're a fucking support. He has the MR Shred aura as a passive, which makes him very good with AP heavy comps. And even with like Ezreal or Corki AD carry, they do magic damage. That's good. Though I think you can even play him with an AP bot. Uh, I know Rumble's not in the game, but like Fiddlestick Rumble was like a comp that was played competitively because fucking flat pen Rumble with the MR Shred aura Fiddlesticks, you just completely destroy everyone. Yeah, he's like really squishy and can be bursted pre-Zanyas, so that's why he's not that good. And his ultimate has a really long cooldown. So like for support, pretty decent pick. Jungler, don't play him. Alright, 46. We're getting towards the end here. Fucking misfortune. Like she's a good laner, and she has good AoE with her E and her Q and her ult. And she has the potential to snowball very hard. Like I remember Type Assassins would play her a lot, and she would get ahead, and she'd be a monster. But you have to build around her. That's one thing. Like she have to build a comp that's really built around having a misfortune. So for that reason, I think she's gonna be better in a 5v5 setting than solo queue because she's not really a hyper carry. She's more of a like AoE utility hero, AoE burst. Like she needs someone to set up her ultimate, like a Mumu, Jarvan, or something. She has built-in Grievous Wounds, which is very powerful, especially against Mundo and later once they add Vladimir. But yeah, like for that reason, I can't really rate her that high because you have to pick a specific comp for it to work well. So she's not gonna be a type of champion you're gonna blind pick first pick because you're gonna make your team comp very predictable, and it's not like the champion you're gonna have a good time with every game. Like especially like if your team doesn't have damage because like your top laner fell behind, she's not gonna be able to pull the weight as a AD carry late game, in my opinion. Up next, Sivir. This champ is kind of weird. I think she could be A tier if promo comps are good, but if promo comps are not good, she's kind of mediocre. Captain Jack used to play her because he would insta cleanse and insta shield everything. It was kind of crazy, so you have to be good at that, or else you're not gonna be good at this champion. Her Ricochet being toggle makes her insane late game, but she only has 425 range, so I don't know what you're doing with that. If you're doing like a promote comp, like she can one shot wave with Ricochet in her Q and melt tower. So I think that's probably what she's gonna do best in a competitive setting. Or if you're doing like lane swap, you're gonna win the race to the turret, and you can probably like recall and reset before they get the turret. But she is like really team reliant. Or a lot of her strength is her ultimate, which can empower bruisers to do stuff. Kind of like Zillion, but a little bit less. Like if you have a Tryndamere or a Skarner or Nasus, they're gonna really like you because you make them able to do stuff. But otherwise, like, feels like she is very really weird. She's like team reliant, but she can do a lot of damage. The problem is the range. Like I don't know how the range is gonna work. As an AD carry, having 425 range feels unplayable in lane. So I think she's gonna be best if you lane swap, so you don't have to lane against range carries with longer range. And like I said, I think if you lane swap and like push hard, you're gonna win the push race. So maybe she's better than I rate her for that reason, but I don't think we have enough information right now. Alright, Yi, this champion is not broken. Do not ban him. Do not first pick him. He's not that good. APE is just a worse version of Katarina. Like, if you're gonna play APE, just say JK and type blocking Katarina, dude. Like, he's annoying to play against, don't get me wrong, but he has to have resets, or else he's completely useless. So if your team is behind you, it's useless. Once RCC during meditate, you're useless. So like people all remember like the pentakill clips, but they don't remember the 10 games where you were fucking useless and you lost. So yeah. ADE though is still a worse version of Tryndamere, but everyone's a worse version of Tryndamere. So what does that say? Well, he still clears the jungle pretty well. And he has some good items he can build. The only problem is he's got no CC and he's very squishy. So you're gonna have to build around that. And he's still useless when behind. So I think this champion excels at dunking nooblers like Aki. Otherwise, I would not really pick this champion competitively. Pretty good in solo queue, but nah, I don't think he's a competitive champion. 49, Olaf. How low was he rated in this? Pretty fucking low. I don't think he's nearly as bad as people say. He's a flex top slash jungle, though I think he's gonna be better top because he has good pushing power with his axes and his E. If you max E, just 340 damage. That's pretty fucking toxic to lane against, especially for like a melee laner. Like he's gonna bully the shit out of you with max E. He has good items like Frozen Heart's good, Warmong's good, Visage is good. The only problem is he doesn't have Atmas, but otherwise, like if you're doing like a push comp, like I keep saying this push comp, like I think the push comp it works. Like you can do like Olaf with blue buff and you just 1v2 lanes or Art pushes top. Like there's some potential to do stuff that is unorthodox in this game, and I think he works well in those situations. The problem is Q decay, the slow decays on his Q, which is pretty bad. And you kind of want to max his Q, but you also kind of want to max his E, and you also kind of want to max his W. So you're gonna end up not maxing your W because that's stupid. So level 1 W feels like fucking dog shit. So and you also kind of don't want to max Q because it increases the mana cost a lot. Like the mana's kind of rough early, so Yeah, like the slow being decayed is pretty bad. And the level 1 Q doesn't even slow that much to begin with. So like if you're doing the Emax build, you're gonna be really good at poking people and trading, but like I don't know, like champion has too much counterplay. Also, no penetration on his ultimate makes him like passive, makes him weaker. Like you're really relying on his ultimate. If you don't have all your ultimate, you feel fucking useless. That being said, like he's not terrible. Like there's some like he if you have like a zillion on your team, I think he's pretty good. If you're doing push comps, I think he's pretty good. Like there's some situation where I could see him work, especially if you're like let's say next patch they add Shen, they pick Shen top, and they pick Kassadin mid. They have no wave clear. Let's say their AD carry is Israel. That's a good champion. He's gonna get picked early. So you're against no wave clear from Kassadin, no wave clear from Ezreal, no wave clear from Shen. You pick a push comp, you pick Olaf, you give him blue buff, push the Shen in, roam mid. Suddenly you have 6 turrets and it's 10 minutes in and you won the game because you have 6 turrets and they have zero. Like I think that's legitimately the real strategy. And the Korean team literally did it in a professional setting in season 2. Granted, it was a better version of Olaf, but like it's doable. It's a build and it's a comp that exists in theory. All right, number 50 kill. I really don't know how to rate this champion. Like she can play mid or top. She's kind of weird because like her passive gives AP from bonus AD and gives AD from bonus AP. It's not the percent shred. Like her ultimate's obviously really strong. She has a slow, a damage amp. She has a eel. She has movement speed steroid. Like all of these things are incredibly useful. But her itemization feels fucking terrible. Like Gunblade sucks. Nashor's Tooth sucks. And she needs 40 CDR to feel playable. Like I feel like that those downside are too big to overcome to make her like a serious competitive champion. I think she could be like situationally okay because her ultimate is really game changing. And if the opponent comp is like really focused on picks and single target, she could save the someone from being bursted. But at that point, why not just pick Zillion? You know. Also, this is the version where she has like no AD scalings on her abilities. So even though you get a lot of AD from building like AP items, you're not really getting much use out of it. So I think if they want to buff this champion, they should just add the bonus AD ratio on your Q that they added in her mini rework. She also feels fucking useless when her E's on cooldown, which is pretty bad because it's gonna be on cooldown until you get 40 CDR. So yeah, kind of hard to gauge this champion, but I don't think she's that weak, but I don't think she's that strong either. Annie, I think she's better as a support than mid lane. Because Flash Tibbers is still one of the strongest engage in the game in this version, and she has a really strong level one. Like if you press W 3 times, the fourth one's gonna be a stun. So the level one invade potential is really strong. You have a stun and it's AOE, so and it does a lot of damage early game. So I think Annie better support than mid. Also, the 625 auto attack range can be really strong in lane, and I think that's why she's better support. She can really harass people with auto attacks. But like, yeah, her damage doesn't really scale that well. So building her full AP, you're probably gonna fall off pretty big time. She has also like her wave clear sucks. She's really short range. If you don't have flash, you have no playmaking potential. So if I had to rate her mid, it'd probably be like a 3.5. Like it's pretty bad. But support, I could maybe see it, especially against like Sona. Like against Sona, she used to be really strong. Like if you get like Sona Ash, I think any support would be a good pick there. Like just thinking out, like that's would be a situation where I would consider picking her support. Bran, champion's kind of weird. He does do a lot of damage, and it's AoE, and he has wave clear. and he does HP damage, and he's good with Leandries, but why the fuck isn't he good? Well, he's got no fucking range. He's kind of a bit like the problem with Rise, like he has no range, but unlike Rise, he has to build squishy to do stuff. His only CC is a very easy to dodge skill shot. And I played against him, and his R particle was so slow that I got time to get a fucking degree before it hit me. So, like, if you're against a fucking Spell Shield or Zanya's, like, you're gonna get zero bounce. It's a joke. If you don't, and if you don't get the five bounces, the ultimate doesn't really do any damage. So, and that's never gonna fucking happen. So he's team reliant. He's not mobile. He's very vulnerable. Like, I don't think he's that good of a mage pick. Like, you'd have to face a very specifically low mobility comp and have the specific champions to support you to make him playable. But that's gonna be really rare. Shaco. And that's how you spell his name, by the way, not Shaco. There's no Y in the name. So Shaco. He's a really strong early game invader. He's probably the best cheese champion in the game. He can clear the buff without using a smite, so you can easily go steal one of their buffs. Them adding the white camp is actually a shackle buff because one of the most common cheese strat you do is you do like your blue buff and you queue over the wall and go straight to the rate camp where there's a brush and start placing boxes there. Well, a lot of people are what they're gonna do is they're gonna do their blue buff, then they're gonna do the white camp, and then they're gonna do the wolves, and then they're gonna walk towards the rates. So if they're doing that, you have an extra 20, 30 seconds to place boxes, which means when you do that cheese strategy and they don't expect it, it's gonna be even more powerful. He also snowballs very hard. If he gets a lead, he can become a fucking monster, and his clone enables him to solo dragon and do very early barons, which is very strong. So why the fuck is he C tier? Well, he's a solo queue champion. He's fucking worthless if he's behind. In competitive play, I don't think these cheese strats are gonna work very well. So if you end up in a situation where you're behind, you're not gonna be useful. You're gonna be a fucking jester walking around being a troll. He's really weak against tanky champion, and CC completely melts him. His boxes only last 60 seconds. I really wish it was 90, but it's only 60, so he's not that good at doing like. Because if it was 90 seconds, you could do like two camps level 1 at the same time. But you can't because it's 60. Pink wards destroy him. The buffs doesn't show on his clone, which makes him fucking terrible in team fights. Like I said, like he's a solo queue cheese pick. And solo queue he's probably like A tier. He's gonna be common ban because he's really annoying to play against. But competitive, fucking not good. Malphite. This pains me with Malphite because I think he's a good champion, but he doesn't have the situations to be a good pick. Like, he has good engage, but obviously he can get flashed. His attack speed still is really good. He's good against AD heavy comps, but they don't exist. Like, what AD heavy comp is there? The good AD champions are banned, and then the rest of the pool is fucking mages. So there's never really a situation where you can pick him. He's also has like really bad mana costs, and to fix that mana cost, you kind of want to build Chalice, which defeats the purpose of his kit, which is building armor. So if you're against AV AP comp, there's way better tanks you can play. Like you can play obviously Skarner, you can play fucking Amumu. If we're talking strictly top lane, you can play like Nasus, you can play Singe even. Like I don't think he's that good of a top laner, and he doesn't really work in the jungle that well. I think he's gonna get better as they add champions. Like once they add like Renekton, Riven, Fiora, Talon, he's gonna have more situation where he's actually playable and decent. But for now, I don't think he's that good as a tank. I do think the IE the Sword of Divine build is funny, and it might be better in building tanks. Like it might be worth trying this build, and if it's good, then it could be a B tier champion, I guess. Cheese pick. Rammus kind of have the same problem as Malphite. There isn't enough AD champs in the game, but also his clear speed is terrible. He clears the jungle so slow. The only way you can do anything is you need to gank a lot, and you're gonna need to snowball your lanes because your clear speed is dog shit, and you're gonna want to build armor to scale. Just scale your reflex, scale your AD, but you're forced to build against AP most of the time because of the champion pool, so that sucks. So even though he has like a 3 second taunt, which is obviously insane, and it shreds armor and MR, which is very strong, just because the champion pool and the situations he's given, he never really has an opportunity to shine. Again, I think he's going to be better when they add new champions, and he's probably going to be a pretty good top laner against the champions I mentioned, like Riven, Renekton. I think he's going to be a good champion against those. But for now, I don't really see a point in picking Rammus, which sucks because I kind of like the champion. All right, now we're down finally to F tier. Wait, I forgot to place Fiddlesticks. What the fuck was he? I think he's like here. Yeah, he's here. So F tier, Falcon's favorite champion, Jax. I'm gonna say that this champion is bug and doesn't work. It's kind of shameful that Riot is releasing him in this state. His passive doesn't even work with items that you would build normally, like Atmas and Rageblade, and it doesn't even work with Masteries and Runes. So he's losing like 500 plus health, which is makes him unplayable. And he's losing like 100 health level one. Like he's already a weak champion early game because he doesn't get the attack speed in his passive. His laning sucks. He can't jungle. He has no active on his R, so he gets no resistance from that. You need to farm up 10,000 gold items to do anything. But games are usually going to be over by then, and you're going to be far behind in no likelihood. If the only reason he's not the worst is because if somehow you manage to get there, he is actually a good champion. He does good damage. He's really good at dueling, but good fucking luck getting there. Games ends too quickly. Like you don't have that much time to get to your core items. And yeah, 17-second leap strike on level one. By the way, like fucking unplayable laning champion. All right, Heimerdinger. This champion could potentially be B tier, but we don't know yet. Reason why he feels terrible to play is his Q doesn't have a stack mechanic. When they reworked him, you could stockpile turrets and place two at the same time. You can't do that. So that feels terrible. His turrets, the HP doesn't scale, so they die too easily. That feels terrible. His W doesn't prioritize champions, they just hit the nearest targets. That feels terrible. His E is fucking a joke. It's too slow, it's fucking terrible. His mana costs are too high, his cooldowns are too high. Everything about him feels fucking terrible. It feels like he purposely in a shit state. Like this champion was like so anti-fun to play against. They purposely made him shit. So why is he not the worst champion in the game? Because the cheese promotes strats can work. I think it can work. And if it does work, and him with Banner of Command and promote is a real strategy, this strategy is gonna be really, really strong, and it's gonna beat a lot of comps that don't have wave clear. So if that comp is real, and it gets proven, you're gonna be able to pick Heimerdinger, go Banner of Command, and stomp games in like 15 minutes. Because in a fucking siege situation, like if you manage to set up your two turrets, and you've got Banner Command that buffs your turrets, and you got Promote that buffs the minions, which makes everyone do more damage, and then you add in a support who has Rally. I'm telling you, like promote comp is real. I think it's a real comp, and if it's viable, this champion might be B tier. If not, then I guess it was just a debate and he's dog shit, but he's still not worse than the other three champions on the list. Because he's very annoying to lane against. Like he pushes really hard with his turrets. You can't dodge his W, and he has HP per five, so you can't really poke him. So like he's not gonna kill you, but it's just really annoying. All right, Timo. This champ, like the more I look at him, the more terrible he looks. Like honestly, I don't know what this champion does. His mana costs are terrible. Like you can maybe spam Q 3 times and you're out of mana. His laning phase isn't even good. He has no wave clear, at least not before ultimate. His only utility is a fucking blind, which is really short range, so it's not even good. Like his entire gimmick is going AP and pricing Shroom in the jungle, but Oracles and Peak Wargs exist, so what's the point? Right? Like why the fuck would you pick this champion? Maybe Raymond was right, and we just have to go triple Dorn's Blade, Frozen Mouth, and Borg and just split push all game. Maybe that's the play. But if that's the play, then I don't want to be playing this champion. I would just pick Nidalee. So yeah, terrible champion. Lux, somehow not the worst champion in the game. She's fucking terrible at everything she does. She's a terrible mid, and she's a terrible support. So it's really a flex on depending which game you want to grief. Her wave clear is terrible. She has banned mana costs. Her AP scaling sucks. Her base damage isn't good. Her utility is very limited. Like you've got the shield, you've got the slow, you've got the binding, but they're all fucking skill shots, and they're not as good as other abilities that are point and click. So you're working so hard to get these marginal benefits that other champions do better. Like if you're ever thinking of picking this champion, just type JK in chat and pick Morgana instead. Like she does everything Lux does but better. Like what the fuck would you pick Lux when Morgana exists? Absolutely nonsensical. Even Lulu, better pick. Like this champ's so worthless. Like her win condition is spamming your laugh so if someone rage quits because they're tired of hearing you laugh. There's no situation where she's a better pick than any other support or mage. Like even if you're trying to build a poke comp, just pick fucking Kog'Maw or Nidalee. Like, what's this champ sucks. Alright, finally we have Garen. This version of Garen is also like the worst version they could have picked. Like, it's no hard CC. His scaling is so janky. Like, you want to build crit for his E, but all the crit items kind of have attack speed, and he doesn't scale off attack speed. His ultimate scales off missing health, so it doesn't even like it does magic damage, which is terrible. His W gives him armor and MR based off bonus armor and MR, so you have to build defensive item to get any use out of it, which is terrible. Atma's Impaler, which is like the only saving grace he could have, is a fucking dog shit item. So the only items he can really build are like Sunfire, IE, and Ghostblade. And those items are pretty expensive, and the build itself is not very good. Like, you're not gonna do more damage than any other champion. You're not gonna be as tankier than any other champion. You don't have the utility of any other champion. You're extremely easy to kite. And even for a manaless champion, his laning isn't even good. Like, sure, you're gonna have a hard time pushing him out of lane, but like, he doesn't really have much kill potential in you. You kind of have to just walk into him and die to lose to him. Like if you're actually thinking of playing this champion, just type JK and pick Nasus instead. You're actually gonna have fun. You're gonna scale. You're gonna have a good laning phase. You're gonna be useful. It's gonna be so fun. Just play Nasus instead. There's absolutely no situation whatsoever where this champion is better picked than any other tanker bruiser. So that is my complete tier list for fucking League Classic. So yeah, I'm gonna post this on my shitty YouTube channel so people can watch the VOD, I guess, and I'm gonna post a screenshot of the tier list in the document. So now I'm gonna stop because my voice is dead. Thank you if anyone was there.